How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Hot Gamers Only, the show dedicated to bringing you all the latest and greatest topics in gaming. My name is Kyle, and I'll be your host for tonight. On today's episode, we're going to be talking Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. This episode's going to contain full spoilers of the whole main story of Xenoblade DE. We're not really going to go into future connected too much. We'll talk about it briefly, but this is just going to focus mostly on the main story. If you want to hear our first impressions on the game, check out episode 12, where we talk about our first impressions, and also, I believe, to either the start of chapter 10 or the end of chapter 10. I don't remember which, but if you've made it past Prison Island, then you're good to go listen to that spoiler-free. Today I'm joined by the co-host with the co-most. It's Hunter. How's it going?
Oh, I'm just swell. Excited to talk about this.
Happy to hear that, dude. Happy to hear that. I'm also joined by our fearless leader himself, Ethan. How's it going?
Yo guys, how's it going? Happy to be here. Happy to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles for the Nintendo Switch. What a game, dude. What a game. You got no comment? That wasn't even sarcastic.
Oh, I don't know. Last time I hosted a Spoilercast, you kind of took over and did the plugs, so I thought you'd do that again.
Oh, yeah, this is a...
Because I don't have those written.
Okay, cool, yeah, so, yeah. This is Hot Gamers Only. Every week we come to you and talk to you about everything that's hot in the world of gaming. We go up every Monday at around about 5 p.m. UK time, 12 Eastern. And then every so often we do Spoilercasts and other random off-peak podcasts that will go up on a random weekday, which we never really plan out. You can get the show on podcast services around the world. You can get us on iTunes, Spotify, whatever you want, SoundCloud, and YouTube as well. If you can go over to YouTube and hit us with a sub, we'd really appreciate it. Go to bit.ly/thegiggers. That's bit.ly/thegiggers and go and subscribe. We'd really, really appreciate it. Like Cal said, this is a spoiler cast, so if you've not played the game, get the fuck out. And back to you, Cal.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the plugs. I wasn't sure how to do those. And also, you're just so good at it, dude. It's like you've got it all memorized.
I don't even really think.
His brain is a steel trap of self-promotion.
We've done like 14, 15 of these by now. You just get used to it.
Yeah. One day I'll get it. All right, so we did talk. We talked about this on episode 12, but real quick, just as a refresher, before we get into actual spoiler discussions on the game, what are all of our experiences with Xenoblade as a franchise? Hunter?
I played Xenoblade 2, and now I have played Xenoblade 1. And that's it.
Nice. Ethan?
I have played Xenoblade 2, and then I played Torna. I played both of them on release, so I played 2 on release, then played Torna on release, and then we've gone back to play 1 now.
Nice. And I have played every Xeno game in existence, except for Xenosaga 3.
Because
you didn't finish X. You didn't finish X.
I still played it. I didn't say I finished all of them. I said I've played them.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the words.
I just want to get people to not. I want people to have the right impression.
All right, fine. You want me to get specific?
Oh, please do. Pan out that time.
Here we go. Beaten Xenoblade 1, Xenoblade 2, Torna, Xenogears, and then I've played Xenosaga 1, and I own Xenosaga 2, and I've also played like half of Xenoblade X.
Oh, there we go. Wonderful.
There we go.
Thank you for that.
Is that good enough for you, Ethan?
Oh, that's good enough for me, dude.
Your credentials have been verified.
Good. Anything to please Ethan. It's what we're here for.
Exactly.
He signs the paychecks.
I wish I signed the paychecks.
I wish there were paychecks.
Oh, that'd be so nice,
amen, dude. Amen. One day we can dream.
Alrighty. So, who wants to talk about that story?
Where do we start? That's the thing. Where do we start?
At the beginning.
I've got the Wikipedia page up now, dude. Where we start? Paragraph 1.
Well, we could either start at the beginning or pick up after where we were beforehand. But maybe since it's a spoiler cast, we should just go from the beginning, since someone clicking on this.
We've got nothing to lose. We can go a lot more in depth with this. So
yeah,
it's all good.
So knock yourselves out. Hunter, how are you feeling on the story?
Overall, I liked it quite a bit. I liked the first half more than the second half, if I'm being honest. I felt like,
Interesting.
I don't know, something kind of dipped in the middle of the game, I guess, and it brought it back by the end, though, so that was cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is it me now?
Ethan?
Oh, hi. I think this story's alright. It's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie and say that I like it over Xenoblade 2. I don't. But I have reasons which I brought up in the first impressions, and those reasons still stay. But I'm the opposite of Hunter. I liked the second half more than the first half. Mainly because the second half was less predictable after playing Xenoblade 2. So there you go.
All right.
But yeah, it's a decent story. I can see why people like it.
So what were some of the standout points to you in the story? I know like second half is where a lot of the story starts to pick up really, really fast. So like, what were some things that just clicked with you in that part?
Well, in the second half?
Yeah, or just like in general.
Eggle as a character was probably what clicked with the second half of me. Was Eggle's a really good and well-developed character that kind of brought much needed light on Mechonis itself and just the story in general. I don't know. It was just, he was really well done, and
Yeah,
I liked the whole Mechonis chapter of the game. Like, it's not very long. I should probably say both me and Hunter both beat the game in about 30 hours. So
yeah, we got through it.
Yeah,
in about half the time that people said we would.
Yeah, which is interesting. But no, that short time on Mechonis is story-wise very interesting. Gameplay-wise, it leaves a bit to be desired. Button Valley and all that.
Button pushing for days.
Yeah, Button Valley. But no, in terms of story, I just liked the whole idea. I liked the city, the desolate city at the top, and I liked this whole story that Mechonis kind of had. And then, like Hunter says, it does kind of dip near the end. Like, it goes back to your classic JRPG.
It was kind of toward the middle that, like, the time in between Prison Island and, like, Mechonis.
Like, oh yeah, but that's not too long. It's just crossing the
Sword Valley. Yeah. But no, it kind of does go into generic, hey, we're a JRPG, you know, the classic of, hey, here's God, go kill God real quick. Which, you know, it's fine, but it's nothing special.
Yeah.
How about you, Hunter? How are you? What were some big moments for you in the story?
I figured it was going to happen, but when Shulk got shot towards the end, I was like, oh. All right. Cool. And then Xanda's whole, he was a vessel thing, that whole sequence was interesting. Eggle again coming through as one of the coolest characters.
Oh yeah, Eggle's freaking awesome.
During that whole thing, him like standing back up to fight with you know, Mechonis's Titan there against Zanza controlling the other one. That was cool, even though he knew he was going to die. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
What was it?
I don't know, like, Eggle and... I forget his sister's name, but those two are
Mayneth.
Like... No, Mayneth is the god.
Shit. God damn it, Wikipedia, do your job. Keep going, I'll find it.
But yeah, Eggle and his sister, I feel like they're really, like... I don't want to say they're small characters, but the impact they have on the overall part of Mechonis, the Mechonis arc of this game, I feel like they added so much.
They actually do have quite a bit of impact for all the more screen time they have, because you know, Eggle doesn't even get introduced until like midway through the game,
right?
Because
before you just see him in his gear,
his little mech,
Yaldabaoth.
The Persona 5 boss.
Persona 5 invented Yaldabaoth.
Yep.
You know it, I know it.
But we all know it. Persona 5 invented the Bible.
Obviously.
It's true.
It's true.
Alvis as a whole was interesting the whole time. Especially going in knowing what his necklace signified.
It was Vinaya, by the way, before we get too far away. His sister's name's Vinaya.
I remembered that.
Thank you, Google. Wikipedia failed me, so I had to go and Google. But yeah, anyway, Alvis.
Alvis is cool.
He was cool. I liked that his whole like thing where he seemed to be playing like he was loyal to Zanza, but he was really, you know,
he's
altruistic
kind of a wild
in a
card.
way. Yeah. It seemed like he was more towards like the natural order of things in a sense of what's best for everyone rather than, oh, I'm Zanza, I'm God, I'm going to destroy the world and remake it. Look at me go.
Y'all are just my food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Alvis. He's really cool. I like how when you first meet him, like, you don't know where his allegiance is. Like, you see him, like, he's with the Hyentia, he's their seer, and then you see him again after Schultz gets shot, and he's working with Dixon, and it's like, whose side are you working for, Alvis?
Yeah.
I do like the retcon they made in DE to give him the core crystal instead of the key necklace he used to have.
Mm-hmm. It was.
I don't know what the key was for. I think it was just a design.
Yeah. Like, that was the thing. That was one of the things that I didn't mention in the first impressions because obviously I didn't want to give that away. But with the retconning of making him the third Aegis core, right? The third part of the main, whatever the database, whatever, the artificial intelligence that runs that space station, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
The Aegis cores, right? It did take a lot of... there was more on a mystery of what is his goal, rather than who is he.
Yeah.
Like, what is he, right? I'm sure in the original Xenoblade, and if you haven't played 2, you're very much like, oh, you know, who is he? Why is he doing it? Not only what are his intentions, but why, you know? Whereas from the start, I was like, so he's the Monado. He's the so it's like he's the guy that's obviously making the Monado because he's the blade. So okay, that makes sense. So what role is he going to play in the story, and why is his allegiance that way? That was the kind of more interesting part for me about him, because obviously the big surprise where I near the end where he's like, I am Monado. I'm like, yeah, I've known this for 20 hours.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's where I feel like kind of retconning that kind of falls on its face. Because before, it's like, Alvis is just this big mystery. You don't know anything about him for the whole game until the end. You just know he's this Homs-looking guy who can use the Monado.
Yeah.
And, like, so by the end, when he's just like, oh yeah, I am the Monado, you're like, what? But then, with the core crystal retcon, it's like, oh.
Well, I'm not all that shocked.
Yeah,
that's...
Imagine if they had like kept the original
cool
necklace design, and when he said that, it changed to the core crystal or something. That would have been funny.
I don't know.
It's weird. Like, I get it. I get why they wanted to do it, because obviously all the Aegises, Aegis, I don't know how to fucking say them. Yeah, just in plural, Aegis. All the Aegis, they obviously have it like ingrained into them. So it's weird. It's weird that he has it as it like he's put like. Because in my head now, he's got like this fake necklace that attaches to the thing that's stuck to his body, like that's stuck to him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
it's weird.
It's weird. He's made this fake necklace so it looks like it's a necklace when it's stuck into his like skin. Like,
it's a little more inconspicuous that way, rather than being like, oh.
I just find that kind of interesting. But no, it was him and Zanza. The thing that I was trying to keep away from you, Hunt, when I was like, oh, and I think I've worked out another thing. It was the whole Zanza thing. That's the other part of what's his name? Klaus. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, because you had two parts in the two universes. You had the weird like half man thing in Xenoblade 2, the floating guy, and he's just big chilling. And then in Xenoblade 1, I'm like, oh, so Zanza's the part of him, because I was just like, oh. I remember them saying that they were fighting. I'm like, okay, that's Zanza then. Cool.
Yeah.
And I just kind of clicked with it. So I was like...
I forgot about that plot point in 2 as far as there being a more malicious part of him. I knew that he was like half a person just floating or whatever in 2, but I forgot why.
No, I remembered, so I was like, oh yeah. So when it was like, oh, Xander's been free, it's like, oh, why did he unleash the power? I'm like, okay, I know where this is all going. This is all going to go. We go to Mechonis, and then we're just going to end up going back because of Zanza being the problem.
Yeah.
So the whole, Bionis is the bad thing all along. I'm like, oh, I'm not surprised, really. It didn't really come as a shock.
I mean,
right?
Yeah, I could kind of see that they were going to go that direction anyway when they started introducing like the machina and stuff. I'm like, oh, there's more to it than just, oh, we're robots who like to
There's
eat
a
people.
civilization.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, what are some other like side characters you guys enjoyed outside of like
outside of the main party?
Yeah, outside the main party.
That's a good question. Let me think. I like how mustached leader of the army kept surviving. That was very cool.
Honestly, it was really impressive.
Dude, Vanguard is great.
Yeah.
He doesn't do much, but man.
I wasn't expecting him to survive the initial attack on the colony. I thought he died. I just assumed he died, and then he showed up later.
I forgot about that too.
He showed up later, and I was like, "What? Did he survive?
Didn't you get eaten?"
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, he survived. I was like, hey, fair play to him. I don't know how he survived, but hey, fair play. You know. I feel like we should talk about Mumcar, is it?
Mumcar, yeah.
Real quick. I want to give them props for not having some kind of other, like, I was fully expecting, because I knew it was Mumcar, because it was just, oh, this is the same voice actor, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's him.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Put one and one together, right? But I like how they didn't do. I thought for a while that they were going to do that classic trope where they're like, oh, the reason that he's decided to do this is because there's some other there's something that he knows that you don't, and he's like, oh, I'm now working for I'm on the right side here. But no, it's just because he's just got a massive ego
inferiority complex.
Yeah,
he's still a scumbag, regardless.
And just always wants to be a hero. It doesn't matter what side he's on. He just wants to be a hero, no matter what side he's on. Which is like, yeah, okay, I respect them.
It's
for
cool
doing
motivation.
That. His death was fucking horrendous, but
I feel like they killed him a little too early.
Yeah, it was like at the halfway point.
Right? Like if they would have swapped the halfway point where he dies at with, like, maybe have Godot or however they pronounce it show up and start menacing them for that section, because that felt like a weird little sidestep. Like, oh, hey, remember Charla's husband? Well, now it's suddenly important again.
Remember how we haven't moved Charla's story since Colony 6?
Yeah. It generally wasn't, oh, we forgot to do this, so let's really quickly bring him back so that we can kill him again so that our ship stands, you know? Like, because they were really trying to push fucking Charla and Ryan together, so I was like, hey, fair enough, just kill him off, like, salute, goodbye, thank you for being relevant for 20 minutes.
But yeah, I feel like if Metalface had just disappeared for a little while and showed up again towards where Godot started attacking you, and Godot had been put where Metalface had died at, and maybe a little bit afterwards, depending on how long they wanted to do that, it would have felt paced out a little better. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have that one scene, the Momcar's death scene. I was in the Discord call when I was playing it.
No,
and it was really pissing me off, because that was the point where I was starting to get sick of Shulk as a character. And we'll get to this at a point, but Shulk is my least favorite character in this game out of the main cast. And it was getting to a point where I was sick of Shulk. Shulk stops Dunban from killing him, being like, oh, we can't kill him. And I'm like, yeah, you fucking can. He's murdered a load of people. Kill him. And Shulk's like, nah, you can't kill him. Don't kill him. And then he goes on this like speech for a while. He's like, oh, you know what? You're right. Dunban stops. He dies anyway 30 seconds later. I'm like, that was the most pointless thing ever. Like, no one learned anything from that experience, really. Because then Shulk, 10 hours later, because then Shulk, 10 hours later, when he's fighting Egil, has got the fucking voices in the back of his head going, kill him! Anyway, so it's like, it's not like anyone's learned a valuable lesson here.
You know, the Zanza in him telling him to kill Egil.
Kill him! Yeah, like, it just made me laugh, that whole scene. It kind of just felt like it was a sloppy way to get rid of Mumcar, who had been, up until that point, quite an aggressive player in terms of appearances.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like they killed off Mumcar at the right time. I feel like his role in the story had been filled, kind of serving as that like anger point for Dunban. I don't know. I feel like he wouldn't have contributed anything else going forward. That's just me, though.
The only thing is, right, is you have that Gado moment of him sacrificing himself, which was completely, just to get rid of the character, whatever,
Yeah.
Thinking about it, if they were trying to do it, I'm glad that they, like I said, if they didn't do maybe he'll repent and become good again. They didn't do that with Mumcar, but that could have been a classic point where they could have fit him in, has had that redeeming arc, especially after when that was the point when Dixon had already fucking betrayed them already, right? So both of them were fucking traitors.
Man, I don't know.
It's interesting to think about that. I'd want it that way, but it's interesting to think if that was the way that they did it.
Yeah.
Any kind of little switcheroo they would have with Metal Face's allegiances wouldn't feel sincere at all. It'd be like, oh, screw you, story. I don't believe this for a second.
Yeah. Mumcar's not the kind of person to just suddenly become good.
Yeah, some people are allowed to stay evil. It's okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think they did a good enough job with Mumcar for what he was.
He was really good as like the driving antagonist for the first half of the game.
Right. He's just like a prelude to Egil.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like the real power of Mechonis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess while we're talking, you have something to say, Ethan?
No, go for it.
Is it still on Mumcar or?
No, it's not on Mumcar.
Okay. Then I guess while we're talking villains, how did you all feel about Zanza's trinity of like him, Lorithia, and Dixon?
Oh, Lorithia can screw off.
Lorithia is the most mediocre character in a video game I've ever fucking witnessed.
She was just kind of in the. Sorry. She was just kind of in the background for the whole thing, being like, "Oh, I'm vaguely evil, but I haven't acted on anything until she acts on it in the end, and then her boss fight sucks." And it looks
she's the James Bond villain sitting in the chair fucking with her fingers like putting her fingers together, like doing that tapping thing for 20 hours, and then she shows up and she's irrelevant anyway, and it's like
yeah.
Like honestly, I was like, I couldn't care less about your character whatsoever. And the weird thing that she's like turns all of her people into Telethia, and then she doesn't get affected by that blast at first. But then she decides to merge with that Telethia anyway, and I'm just like, this is just stupid. You're just here to be here, And it's the most ugly boss I've ever seen, and it genuinely was
not a good boss.
It's the one boss I had to go and grind for.
Yeah, it was rough. But no, she was just such a useless character that literally you could have removed her out of the plot entirely, and I feel like there wouldn't really be much of a difference, really.
You could have just had, the High Antia turn into Telethia, and
you could have literally just said, "Oh, Dixon
show up," and just not be of his right mind anymore because he got
honestly, you could.
Lorithia just nothing. You could literally just say that, Dixon already had the knowledge of them of being able to turn them into Telethia, so he did it instead. You genuinely could swap her out with any other character antagonist in this game, and nothing would change. She's useless. The only thing you have is the attempted assassination of Melia, but you could have that anyway because it was just part of the fucking cult thing. So it was like, who cares, right? You literally could have had that swapped out for anything. It doesn't matter. She's irrelevant.
Right. And then you could still have the boss fight against Callian as a Telethia in the interior Bionis. Just remove Lorithia.
Or you can just not have that boss fight because it was bad.
Exactly. But no, she's just completely irrelevant. Like, I didn't see a point in a character. Didn't care when she died. Didn't care anything. I was just like, can you get out of the way, please? I'm trying to finish this game. Thank you.
I could have tolerated her existence if she had died when Callian did his whole resist the thing and then shoot himself into them.
Oh, can we talk about how stupid that was? Can we genuinely talk about how stupid that was? How they make this big deal about him sacrificing himself and literally no one dies, even him.
Yeah, it was a little silly.
It was the most, at least have one person fucking die from it. Literally no one died, not even him who sacrificed himself. So his sacrifice was in vain, and it's just like, yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Just why? But anyway, yeah, that's how I feel about her. I don't think anything other than irrelevant.
Yeah.
So how
Dixon,
about
on the other
Dixon?
hand, he was all right. He worked as a good kind of like just jab you in the side kind of villain while he prods you along until you get to Zanza.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way he could have been more obvious was if he had a fucking like bullhorn at the same time, or like fucking like had fireworks every time he showed up, saying "I'm the bad guy" in the fucking sky. Because he was obviously for the entire game, he was always making side comments and like winks at the camera, going, "Hey, go on, Shulk, go do my job" or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you've obviously got some fucking second agenda here.
Yeah, like
Like,
after the whole Colony 9 attack, it became very clear that something was up with him.
yeah,
Up
like
until
yeah,
then,
it
I
was.
was like, oh, this dude's just Dunban's buddy and whatever.
Yeah.
And then
And he
after,
saved Shulk, and I was just like, he's like he has far too many links to everyone, and he just keeps making all these like side eyes. Even at the start of the game, when if you notice, you've got them crossing the bridge right when they're leaving Colony 9, and then you've got Dunban making his little speech of "I'll join you soon in 2 hours, friends." When you've gone through when you've met Charlotte, so I don't get in the way. And then you've just got Dixon, even then in the corner, just smirking. I'm like, well, you're fucking sus as hell. Like genuinely, like he's the classic. Hey, I'm the traitor. I'm the haha, got you. I'm really the bad guy. But it's like,
the
yeah, it was
shady
also kind of
mustache doesn't
obvious.
help at all either.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just voice in general. But I like, unlike her, he is actually relevant. So I'm like,
Yeah.
fair play.
Yeah, he
And he has
actually
this.
performs his
Yeah.
role pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
It
Do I think
actually
it's stupid?
mattered.
Yeah. If I think it's stupid that he turns into like a giant in the end and stuff like that, I'm like, that's a bit dumb, but that's just anime like JRPG for you, right? But
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
We can let that
him
one
as
slide.
yeah, we'll let that slide because you fight God like 20 minutes later anyway. So what's the point? But
You're also in space after the
yeah,
fight, so
Face.
but no, as a
like
character,
real world space,
Yeah.
not made
as a
up space.
character, he very much is just a plot point character. Where again, like similar to Alvis, where the whole interest in his character is what are you plotting? Like what is the side thing? What is the thing that's going to end up being the main threat essentially?
He's kind of like the antithesis to Alphys in a lot of ways, since
Mm-hmm.
he's all like suspicious, but he turns out to be very much suspicious in a bad way, whereas Alphys had good intentions while
Yeah.
still being suspicious.
Well, you see, it's like you could even argue: did Elvis have good intentions, or was he just prodding the fire at every side? He was just starting fires wherever he was going. Like I don't think necessarily like Elvis was just the computer, right? In the end of the day, I don't
Yeah.
think he had an allegiance either way. I just think
I guess that's a good
he was
point.
just. I just think he's just fire starting, dude. I just think he's like, hey, if this is the time to have a fucking beef, let's have a beef and see what happens. If the future of the world's at stake, let's see what happens. Who deserves to decide that?
Yeah.
And that's kind of more of Alvis's role. I wouldn't say he was like, oh, I'm really rooting for Shulk this whole time. He's just like, no, let's give the fucker a chance. So no, but yeah, Dunban Dixon is very much getting my D's mixed up. He's very much like he's kind of your mustache twirly villain, and especially he gets extremely comical near the end when he just starts like every time he shows up, he's like got his arms crossed and he's smirking and he says some cheesy line because of course he does, and he survives like 3 times and he's like, okay, he's still alive, and like cool, and he's just kind of there. Like I like him as a character, but he very much is a plot device. He's just a plot point. He's the okay. We need to get them from Egil to the Zanza line, and that's what Dixon's role is.
Basically, yeah.
Pretty much. So then, speaking of, how are you all feeling about Zanza? And that whole reveal chapter of plot dump about Zanza.
Typical muhaha, I'm an evil god kind of thing. It came off well enough. I wasn't bored while the reveal was happening. I was like, oh, using Shulk as a vessel was kind of cool, since apparently you planned on it the whole time. Which, yeah. So that's interesting. as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, he's just generic god villain at the end of a JRPG. There's nothing that really stands out to me about him. His soul was, it's just, oh, his body's here, his soul's somewhere else, and it's just like, oh, okay, they trapped him twice, he's back, cool. I don't know, it was cool, I guess. The cutscene that he comes back, I was like, and then there's just a plot dump. I'm like, okay, cool, I get it. But it's just plot dump. He's just the big threat at the end of the line. He's the no, it's you've got Malface, and it's like, oh no, I'm the real villain. It says Egil, and then no, I'm the real villain. Says Zanza, and it's just one of those. He's just fine. He doesn't really have a personality that I care about. He's just generic villain. Like, he's just generic god villain. And I'm like,
I mean, I think he serves the role.
He serves the role. Like, there's nothing wrong with him. Like, he's not particularly bad or anything. But
he's not particularly, like, Egil is a more interesting antagonist because of actual, like, motivations and stuff, as opposed to LOL, people are food.
Yeah, I don't know, and it just kind of is funny because it is just that Dixon shoots him in the back, and it's like, haha, here he comes, and I'm just like, oh god, it's just like,
check this shit out, Elvis.
It's just
that was
weird.
A horrible Dixon impression.
It was really funny though.
It's good enough. It's good enough. It's good enough. But no, he's fine. I don't really have much to comment on him. Really, he just does the job.
Yeah, but what about that initial showing of Zanza at Prison Island as like the big purple guy?
That was super weird. Like, to me, I was like, what is up with this dude? And then he like got speared or whatever, and he was still lingering around. I was like, okay, well, you're like the Monado. Well, you're not the Monado, because I know that that's what Alvis is, but you've got some kind of like tether to it.
Yeah, but then also
he's essentially a driver, right?
Pretty much.
He's essentially a driver.
Yeah,
but there's 3 drivers of the Monado, but because Maynef and then Zanza and Shulk technically, because he gets his own. Alvis just pulls him out, dude. He's just like, you get a fucking Aegis weapon, and you get an Aegis weapon, and you get like Mithra, yeah.
Alvis is so broken compared to the other two.
Yeah, dude, genuinely. He puts fucking Mithra to shame, dude. She's selfish as hell. She literally goes to someone on a deathbed and is like, I'll let you have one if you do what I want. Like, okay. Whereas fucking Alvis is just like, yeah, you want one, have one, dude.
Adam, you dumbass.
Exactly. But no, yeah, what was the question? I forgot. I went on a rant.
He asked our opinions. It was something about Zanza.
The human. Yeah, that's when
Island.
That's when everything connected to me. I'm like, okay, that's the other part of Klaus. I was like, okay, this all adds up. What I found more funny and interesting in a way was the flashback cutscenes of just that version of Zanza just talking to people. That was what I just found fucking hilarious, because it's like they obviously made a cool thing to be trapped in a prison, and then they were like, oh shit, we need to do story with this model, and then you just got big beefy guys standing next to like regular human. It just looks dumb as hell. Like,
you just got him and Egil talking with each other.
Yeah, it's just funny, Yeah. Like it was just funny. But no, he's cool. But that's everything clicked at that point. Mm-hmm. So. Also I wasn't more of, he looks cool. It was just, okay, I get this now. Yeah. He's Klaus.
Also, quick sidebar. That flashback cutscene of Arglist and Egil talking with each other, that takes place on the Bionis shoulder.
Oh, man.
It was like that in the original, too. So
very cool.
The map wasn't fully cut. They repurposed it. It's also used again in the credits, like in the final pan of the Bionis.
Oh, all right.
Like not like at the credits part, but like when Alvis is talking with Shulk, it like cuts around to different parts and it shows the Bionis shoulder also.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I love how in Future Connected they just came up with some random bullshit to still make it the shoulder. the rest of the fucking Bionis is in chunks on the ground now, but you just got this one floating bit, and it's the shoulder that no one's been to.
Except for all the Hyentia that live there.
Yeah, except for all the Hyentia, they're just big chilling. But
just big chilling.
It just
made that fucking happy mask salesman guy who never opens his eyes.
Oh, that guy, that dude.
He's a piece of work.
I mean, I imagine that he's evil. I don't know for sure, but
no, he is.
Okay, yeah, he has happy mask salesman face, of course.
Doesn't take a literary genius to figure that one out.
No,
you can just tell by the way he talks.
I mean, even before that, I was like, oh man.
Am I missing some? Who are we talking about here? Because I'm completely lost.
Yo, play Future Connected.
Is it the guy that you meet at the fucking barracks? Is that what you're on about? That guy?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, the guy that's like, I'll help you if you need help. That guy.
Yeah.
He never opened his eyes.
It's like always got his eyes closed, and he wears like purple armor.
Yeah.
I
got you. Yeah.
I don't remember what his name is. I think it starts with a G.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Connected.
Irrelevant. Anyways, like Future Connected aside, let's talk about that main cast. Those main 7 weirdos you explore the world with. How are we all feeling on them? You can just go in order.
Yeah, let's go in order.
All right,
let's do it.
Let's start with the Monado boy himself, Mr. Shulk.
Go on, Hunter. You start.
Hunter, do you want to start?
You start while I prepare my essay.
All right, so I'm not as down on Shulk as Ethan is. I liked him for most of the game. It seemed like when the story kind of dipped, my interest in the story dipped, he seemed to kind of be in a little bit of a meh stage. But by the time that Xanta came out of him and he came back, I was like, all right, you're cool again.
Yeah.
So I don't know what was going on in between exactly, but I got over it. Shulk is all right. I like him definitively more than Rex, and I still like him more than like Charla, for example, as far as other characters in the game go, even.
Mm-hmm. I think as far as like Xeno protags go, he's definitely like in my top 2. It's either like a toss-up between him or Faye from Xenogears. He's a super good protagonist. I really enjoy him. Adam Hoden does a great job voicing him.
Yeah.
All right. And that's all the positives out of the way. Ethan.
Hi, guys. I'd like to say that, Adam, you do a great job at Shulk, and you're a good voice actor. But you being a good voice actor is the only thing that differentiates him from Rex to me in any slight form. Really? I like him at the start of the game. He's fine at the start of the game, but when Fiora quote unquote dies, and you have that moment where it's just him and Ryan and then Dunban and Charlotte, and you have the first half of the game essentially, even with Melia, I like him as a character, right? It's the point where I'm like, oh, okay, I can see why people like him more than Rex, obviously, because he's got a good voice actor, but 2, hey, he's an actual likable character in Hom's being, I guess. I was going to say human being, but I decided to be a nerd about it.
I appreciate it.
But then it gets to the point where Fiora comes back, and then Ethan frowns because Shulk becomes the most fucking annoying character in this entire game. Literally, it gets to a point where he's always like on edge. He's always like anxious, and at this point, his performance gets a bit dodgy, in my opinion, towards this part of the game. And it's just the whole relationship between him and Fiora, especially in that middle section, is so fucking unbearable from Shulk's perspective that I just couldn't enjoy it. Like, literally, fucking, she takes 2 steps and fucking has a slight fucking tumble, and he fucking runs 60 meters, going, okay? I'm like, fucking stop. Just please stop. Like, everyone else is just like, yeah, she's fine, leave her alone. But he's like, no! Like, at that point, I genuinely... I think I made a comment at this point, and I think he is a better character than Rex, don't get me wrong. He's a better character than Rex, but I said this, I said, I can't remember who I said it to. I think I said it to Jack or Sam. And I think the statement I said was, I would much prefer having the bad performance of Rex than this right now, because at least I was laughing at Rex, whereas I'm not getting anything from Shulk except for hatred.
Wow.
Like, there's that middle part of the game up until even on Mechonis, like literally up until the point where fucking Zanza yeets himself out of him, and he wakes back up, and he becomes a competent human, like Hom again. Like, that's when I started liking him again near the end. I'm like, okay, I start respecting you again near the end. But there's just that whole middle section where I'm like, I really not liking you as a character, and it just didn't work for me.
The moral of the story is that it's Zanza's fault.
No, yeah, I guess that's the moral of the story. But no, he just becomes way too clingy near the middle.
I don't know.
And I think that's just my
like
opinion.
Understanding Shulk's perspective. Like, he's already quote unquote lost Fiora once.
Yeah,
he just doesn't want to lose her again. You know.
Yeah, but here's the difference, right? Is Donban is the same when Fiora comes back, but he's done much more fucking well. He's much better. It's a much better performance and betterly done. I don't know how to fucking speak today. What I'm trying to say, it's done much better. There we go. We got the words, boys. We got the words.
Yeah,
it's done much better than Shulk in like every possible way. And if not, that was the harder one to pull because that's a fucking basically elder brother, father figure who's lost his younger sister / daughter, and bringing him back, that was done much better than Shulk. And you can tell that Dunban cares and doesn't want to lose her again, but at the same time, it's not this clingy fucking performance that's screaming and annoying and just wanting to shut the fuck up.
Well, that's just the difference of the two characters. Like, Dunban's more of a show don't tell kind of person.
And this is why I like Dunban more.
Well, let's talk about Dunban.
Best character.
Should have been the protagonist.
God, we all love Dunban.
Genuinely should have been the protagonist. Go on, Hunter.
Honestly, though, I would have been fascinated to see a game where, you know, it just shows he has the Monado in the beginning and all that, and in hindsight, it would have been cool if he kept it.
Yeah, could have been.
Here's the thing, right? Is I don't see in any way how the game would have worsened if Dunban was the main protagonist. At all. I don't see a difference. If anything, the Mumkar portrayal and the Dixon portrayal would be even fucking bigger because he'd been with them for that long and he fought alongside them.
Yeah.
Like, you don't feel it. You don't feel a fatherly bond between Shulk and Dixon. You don't. They try and make it as if it's like, oh yeah, they are really close, but you don't feel it ever because every time Dixon's just making shitty comments all the time, going, "Well, hey, I'm back,"
yeah,
and then you fucking suck, don't you, Shulk? You can't even be asked to get there. I'll show you your shit, and like that's what he's like, right?
Yeah.
There's no fucking fatherly bond there. You don't feel an ounce of care between them, so there's nothing there to strengthen that bond. Dunban, in my opinion, should have been the main character.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I think it would have been even more interesting to see a brother who's lost his younger sister and the one that he's basically left to care for his entire life go on that journey himself. I think that would have been a more interesting story.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be an even stronger vengeance motivation.
Familiar love, to me, it would be more interesting as a plot device and a story like thread than this kind of childhood love that Shulk and Fiora have.
Yeah, especially in a JRPG where they don't go the familial love route as the main like driving force behind the story. A lot of times it is typically childhood friendship, love story, blah blah blah, or you just meet each other, love story, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
on which JRPG you're playing.
I don't know.
What do you think about it? Xenoblade 2, they kind of went down the familial love route, but with Rex and all of Leftheria as his kind of motivation for wanting to be a salvager.
And that's why I think I liked, as much as I think Rex is a terrible character in terms of performance, right? Because God, the performance is bad. But in terms of character, it gets better. It gets better. I think everyone's a bit too. I think people are too harsh on Rex's performance sometimes.
Well, because Twitter just cherry picks the same 4 lines.
Twitter is a negative bubble that just stays enclosed, right?
Legit, every month you will see someone criticizing his design without fail.
Of course they will. Yeah, of course they will.
It's like, God, look at this. His fucking shorts are dumb.
Yeah.
I mean,
but no, what else? Yeah. What I was going to say was,
What's that, Hunter?
Go on, Hunter.
I was just saying, Rex's default costume is pretty silly, but
I mean, it is, but then he becomes Master Driver and it looks good.
Yeah, it looks great when he's Master Driver. It looks fucking great.
Looks
But
great.
yeah,
It matches with Mithra.
yeah, it does. But Rex's motivations to me, having this, hey, he's effectively like he's an orphan, right? And he's doing his best. He's making money. He's gone out and put himself on the line so that the kids from where he's from don't have to live the life he's living, right? And to me, him going on this journey and doing it for Letheria is a much more compelling fucking plot device and story driver than this fucking shitty little baby love that these fucking Shulk and Fiora have, which I don't even find good. But it's like... It's just I hate that it's an unpopular opinion. I respect that it's an unpopular opinion, but I honestly think that Shulk's motives are just fucking trash. And that's just me, and I'd rather have Dunban. Why couldn't they have remastered it with just Dunban?
No, I mean, they just remake it with Dunban.
Remake it. Remake it. Dunban for Smash. Fuck Shulk off. Dunban for Smash, dude.
I think Xenoblade is the kind of game where you can have like an FF6 situation where like anyone in the main cast could be seen as the main character.
Me and Hunter have had this. Me and Hunter had this conversation.
Shulk got pushed more as the protagonist.
Me and Hunter had this conversation that take out Rex and Nier and take out Shulk and Fiora and mash those two teams together, and you've got the perfect JRPG cast right there. Genuinely,
I would love to do that. Dunban interact with Zeke.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Ryan interacting with Zeke would be pretty great too.
Right.
It seems like Monolith. Yeah,
God.
Exactly. It seems like Monolith Soft really know how to do side characters and side party characters really well. Like
yeah, they do.
The overall roster, they know how to do really well. It just seems they really don't know how to make a fucking protagonist, like a main protagonist. Whether it's Shulk, who has a great performance but a terrible set of fucking motivations, or if it's Rex, who has great motivations but a terrible fucking performance. It just doesn't matter. Either way, they just keep screwing it up.
I feel like Laura and Jin really hit the sweet spot.
Actually, you've got a fair point. Laura and Jin are great.
I didn't play Torna, but I liked it.
You should play Torna. Play Torna. It's great.
Right, but I really liked Jin and base Xenoblade too, so there's that. And I could feel I liked the motivation that Laura gave to his character from what I got in that. So,
and once you play Torna, it gets even like it really does hit you. Where if you play two again, if you play two again, then it really does hit you differently. It goes from a why is he captive for this long to a I actually feel this with him now that I've been through that journey.
Yeah.
But anyway, Dunban's great. The next character.
Great. Let's talk about another great.
I swear I won't bring Shulk up except for the Fiora. When we talk about Fiora, we'll. But
what about his best buddy Ryan?
Ryan is pretty great. Probably second favorite as far as main cast is concerned.
Ryan's really cool.
I really like Ryan as a character.
Yeah.
He essentially has the same motivations as Shulk, right? Except not the love side. And again, I think he's done much better. Yeah. He's doing it. And again, I don't know what it is with JRPGs at times loving to do this fucking childhood love fucking trope. Which I've said it before, Xenoblade 1 fans at times are hypocrites because they say that Xenoblade 2, they don't like Xenoblade 2 because it's too tropey, when Xenoblade 1 has a million tropes as well, so I don't get that point. But Ryan just is well done. Like, he's really well done. He's really good, like, best friend kind of character, right?
Yeah.
He gels with all the cast. Like, there's not a scene where I'm like, hey, he feels out of place. He doesn't. He always feels relevant, and he's one of the characters that
mesh so well together.
Yeah, him and Ricky.
They do.
That scene at the end of him and Ricky, I fucking loved to death.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Catch big fish.
Like, we'll talk about Ricky, but I genuinely did love the relationship between those two in particular.
Yeah.
But no, he's just really well done, and he's a really good comedic relief character as well.
Right. Like, but he's not just strictly comic relief.
No.
Yeah, he still has
which is good
there, and he's not annoying.
He's a lot like Zeke.
Yeah, exactly.
In a way.
He has his moments when he needs to.
At face value, he's just a goofball, but beneath that, it's someone who is a lot deeper than what the game wants you to think.
Yeah, and I really like him as a character. He is probably my second favorite behind Dunban, probably.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
Anything else, Hunter?
No, I've pretty much been set as far as Ryan is concerned.
Ryan, time's over.
I'll let you take the next one, dude. I'll let you take the next one.
Oh man, but
Alrighty.
all of the jokes with his name are great, by the way.
You can't have a rainbow without Ryan, baby.
I fucking love that one so much.
All right.
Alrighty. Let's talk Fiora.
Hold me back until you can have a go.
Oh my
So
god.
this is gonna sound mean, but she should have stayed dead.
Yeah.
I don't even hate her, but I feel like it would have been better if she stayed dead. I'm typically that way where I like killing off people to be something that means something.
Either she stay dead or have her be like perma possessed by Mayneth.
Yeah.
I feel like that could have been cool.
Like
also.
if it was Mayneth wearing Fiora's face, that would have been cool too. It feels
being like
really strange that she died, quotes, and then got to, get off scot-free in the end.
I still don't know how she lived. I've played this game like 5 or 6 times. I still don't get how she survived that.
Man, I don't understand, but...
It was part of Shulk's wish, dude. It was part of Shulk's wish, Lamau.
But, yeah, like...
No, I mean surviving Colony 9.
Oh, she didn't.
Stabby.
Oh, as far as I'm aware, what I thought was she was 100% fucking dead. That's what I thought. And then the Mechonis, like, science or whatever, when they swapped out her organs for, like, mechon parts and stuff like that, that's what brought her back to life. That's what I thought it was. I thought she was dead.
They rebuilt her.
They rebuilt her, dude. Like, yeah. Like, they took out the shitty organs that didn't work and replaced them with mechon parts. Yeah, that's what I thought. But no, I agree with Hunter. She should have stayed dead. And this is coming from someone that said that it was a really bad trope to kill her off at the start. But...
That's not even to say that I think Fiora is a bad character either.
Right.
She's not.
While she's on screen, she's good. It's just her whole part of the story involves her dying, and that's what would have been better.
And it really fucks with Shulk's motivations in the midpoint.
Yeah.
Which is why I led to disliking Shulk, was when Fiora came in. And I was like, I don't hate Fiora as a character. It's just, it feels like every other person in this team has a reason for being here, right? You've got Shulk with his motivations. You have Ryan, who has a similar set, but does it a lot better. You've got Dunban, who obviously is just a lad. You've got Charlotte, who's looking for her fiance, who's gone missing, but she's also got the motivation of trying to fucking keep the Mechon away from her little brother to try and protect her little brother as well.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Ricky, who's a massive fucking tax dodger and needs to get his debt sorted out, right? Amelia, who's a princess who's about to take the throne, but needs to basically needs to go with Shulk and needs to just learn how to be a fucking person beforehand. You've got everyone has these motivations, and then you've got Fiora here, whose motivation is, I died and now I'm back and now I'm kind of a plot point.
And a voice in my head is telling me to do stuff.
She has no reason to be there other than the plot's dictated that I am here, and here I am. And I also have a crush on Shulk, so I guess I'll follow him to hell and back. Not really much of a motivation.
I guess now that we're talking about her, unlike Ethan, I don't really have an issue with Shulk that much, but I do think that their romance angle comes off very meh. Like, between the two of them, I like both the characters, but their chemistry together is, I don't know, I don't feel
it's
like
not that great.
Can I just say, as someone, I know I'm pointing off overly negative between Shulk and Fiora, but I keep talking about their relationship, but as Kyle knows especially, and Hunter knows as well, I'm a sucker for a good romance, like, storyline, dude. I'm a fucking, like, sob with that stuff. I cry at all of this shit. And I watch a load of...
Well, it comes off.
Yeah, I'm a fan of a load of, like, romantic animes and stuff like that, like rom-com animes. I like this stuff when it's done well. This isn't done well.
No.
It's done terribly. They genuinely do feel like twins. They look the same. It's not that they look the same. And then there's that scene with the water won't go into her mouth, so let's fucking bird feed it. And it was the most
weird.
I genuinely looked to for those
I've never seen that before.
For those of you who are wondering, we're recording this the same day Last of Us has come out, right? I flinched more at that scene than I flinched at The Last of Us Part 2 so far, genuinely. Like, didn't like it. Nasty. Didn't like it. But no, it's just... Like, she's just as a plot point. She just feels like she's there because she's there.
Yeah.
she's a motivation driver, and then she's a plot point.
Mhm.
And she was a lot more interesting when Maynard was voicing her.
Or if they just didn't kill her in the beginning and they were like, oh, they devastated our town. Let's go let's go fight these guys.
Let's go bust some heads.
Yeah, like if it was just these 3 angry kids who wanted to go fight these metal
next door,
giants,
battle stations.
That could have been fine too. Like Fiora dying and then coming back is the main issue with her. Like she could have been fine if she had survived, and then
she's fridged for a plot point, and then she's brought back for another plot point. There's no motivation in her character at all, other than I am attracted to Shulk because he looks like me, and I'm narcissistic.
That's honestly hilarious.
Stick that on the box art, Nintendo.
Oh my god.
Put that on a Valentine.
Game reviewer Ethan says.
On a sidebar though, Mechon Fiora kicks ass in battle. She is borderline
she's
overpowered.
Great. As a character, she's a great fighting character.
As a character.
As a character, no. And how she survives, I have no clue.
Could be better.
Just like how it just seems stupid.
Speaking of characters who could be better, Charla.
She's just fine.
Yeah.
That's the definition of fine.
She hangs out as the healer. Her thing with Godot seems like it was forgotten about forever and then put in towards the end because they remembered they had to do it.
Yeah. That they had to kill it. That they have to kill him off so that she has a reason to keep hanging out with Ryan.
I guess. I mean, him being, robot from the neck down doesn't really help his situation either. So
yeah, probably not.
It's not stopping Shulk and Fiora. It's not stopping them. It wasn't anyway.
Well, that's because they beat that
she
issue.
Got unroboted.
Yeah, but I'm saying that up until that point, they didn't know that she was going to get unroboted, so it didn't stop them.
Yeah.
But no, she's just fine. She's the definition.
Charlotte,
she plays a part.
She's inoffensive. She doesn't really do much, but
Yeah. I've always said this. She's one of the characters I've always wanted to like more, but the game doesn't give me any reason to want to like her more. I don't know. It's weird. She's not good in battle. Her talent art sucks. Having to constantly cool off her rifle. Story-wise, she's forgotten about after Ether Mines until the end of Mechonis, pretty much.
When more
up until the midsection of Button Valley, dude.
Yeah,
the midsection of Button Valley.
I don't know. I wish more got done with her. Cough, cough. Future connected,
but nah.
But no, they had to give us a fucking Charla clone as a Nopon. That's real, Ethan. That's not a joke.
I know it's real. I played 45 minutes of Future Connected. Thank you very much. I know it's real. I did my duty as a video game reviewer.
Hell yeah.
I played it for 2 hours, I think.
That's 2 hours too many. It's 2 hours too many.
No.
But
no, 3 hours. I don't know.
She's fine. Next character,
Definition
Kyle.
Of good enough. Let's go talk about a better character. It's Malia.
Oh, hooray. Oh, what's that? Do you hear that, guys? Guys, do you hear it, dude? Do you hear it? I hear a ship in the distance, dude. I hear a ship in the distance.
Really? Because I hear a TARDIS.
It must be here. Fuck you. It's time for Ethan's ship sailing company. What are we on? Round 3, dude?
3 or 4, I don't remember.
It's 3, I think.
A jingle.
I should, dude. I should for the Spoilercast, dude. I should. But if you're new here, this is where Ethan tells you what the best ship in the game is. And if you disagree, then you're wrong. Congratulations. Previously, we said, without spoiling these other games, we said Kasumi for Persona 5 Royal, and I was stood on the line for Tifa in Final Fantasy 7 Remake, because fuck Aerith, dude. Yeah, fuck Aerith, dude. It's more because we hate Aerith.
But I guess that's the
Aerith
lore.
was fine in the remake.
I missed that part. I wasn't there.
She's too quirky, dude. She's too quirky. Anyway, Malia is the better character than Fiora. And the fact that they friend-zone her like they did to Nia is not on, dude. Nia's garbage. Fair enough. Friend-zone her. Fucking boot her, dude. I'll get the door open for you. I'll open the door as you fucking yeet her. Malia, not fair.
Not fair.
Because she's a much better character.
This is another thing that I feel like if Fiora would have stayed dead, Malia could have stayed in focus a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like right from when she's introduced, Shulk is clearly infatuated with her for a couple hours.
It just makes me feel sad because there's like genuinely she's a great character and literally all the game does is fucking pin her down and gut fucking kick her for like 60 hours. That's what the game is oh, what's that? Shulk doesn't love you, kick. Your dad's dead, kick.
Your brother's
dead, kick.
All your
80% of the population of your people turned into big monsters, kick.
Your adopted mother tried to kill you, kick.
Like, yeah, it's just
and also tried to murder you with
then you have that
sent assassins after you.
And then if all that isn't bad enough, they then have that cutscene near the end where you just have them two holding hands walking past, and that is literally, I was like, this isn't on.
Even in like the last cutscene, she's just up at Outlook Park by herself,
just chilling out,
with no one else. It's so
sad.
bizarre.
And the only reason Fiora goes up there is to ask where Shulk is, which is like,
it feels
done dirty, dude. Gone dirty.
Melia
Genuinely
deserves a hug.
Honestly,
she deserves much more than what she got, genuinely. And then they even decide to base Future Connect. They even know that fucking those they even made Future Connected Melia focused with Shulk, and it's as if it's like
from what I've played and what I've heard of Future Connected, it's for all intents and purposes, it is Melia's story.
It is. It's her getting
all about the Hyantia and how Melia's gonna become the new ruler, pretty much.
I have watched the cutscenes. I did watch the cutscenes.
I'll beat that someday.
But yeah, it genuinely just end. It is just them getting the city back and her becoming Empress. I guess is that the term that the Hyantia use? Not King and Queen, Empress. Yeah, it's just that. But no, I really liked it. It's kind of a shame that the game has this section that's like between the first third, like just after the first third of the game, you have this whole section that's really focused around Melia, and then she just kind of poof.
The crazy thing is that like even when she's no longer in focus, she's still like interesting.
Yeah.
So fair play on that, but I wish she got more focus. She could have been a really good like secondary protagonist instead of just hanging out.
Just did her dirty. And then also shout outs to Jenna Coleman as well.
Jenna Coleman did a great job, and I'm glad they brought her back for Future Connected.
And that's not just fair play for doing that, because that must have cost Nintendo quite a bit. That's probably why you don't have many other voice actors returning, dude. It's probably because like, oh god, if we gotta pay for Jenna Coleman again.
Her voice is a little different from base game to Future Connected.
It's also been 10 years though, so you have to kind of forgive that. She was like 21 or something ridiculous when she first did it, and now she's like 30s. So it's been a minute, and she's done a load of stuff like The Crown and Doctor Who as well since then. So fair play.
I just remember like before the game got released and Nintendo showed English cutscenes of Future Connected, the whole like Xenoblade community is just like, is this Jenna Coleman? Is she back?
Even me, as someone that is a massive fan of Doctor Who, right? And especially Matt Smith's run. I've watched all the episodes with Jenna in them like multiple times. So even me, as someone that's listened to Jenna's voice on hours and hours and hours, I was like, is that Jenna? Is it? I don't know. Is it? Maybe. And it took like a Nintendo rep going, yeah, it's Jenna, to everyone go, okay, it's Jenna, we can all relax. But no,
deep breaths.
She's pretty great.
Doctor Who was actually my first exposure to Jenna Coleman.
Same.
I didn't play Xenoblade until like 2016 or 2015.
This game is the first thing I've first exposure to her.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just a massive Doctor Who fan, so I already knew her.
Yeah.
Because I've literally been watching Doctor Who since it came back in 2005, so hey.
Well, props to you.
Yeah, thank you, dude. I love watching a show that very much has its peaks and its troughs, dude.
Anyways, this isn't the Doctor Who spoiler cast. Let's talk about...
We're never doing that.
When are we doing that?
No, not going down that rabbit hole.
Hot Doctors only?
God. That'll be a subjective list.
Anyway, next character.
Hell yeah.
Alright. Who likes the Hero Pod?
The Hero Pod is the best.
Hero Pod Ricky is bestest.
Ricky is the only Nopon that I like. Thank
Genuinely.
you.
Honestly.
Genuinely, he's great.
Like,
he's great. I love him.
It's interesting because he's just around to be like funny, and he doesn't really contribute all that much to the story, but there's still layers to him that they didn't need to put there, but it makes him so much better. Like that conversation with Dunban on the beach was really good.
Scene.
That scene is really good. I like it a lot.
Literally how he pretends that he's hungry and tired just so Melia can
rest.
Admit that she needs to rest. Yeah. Is like just great.
Ricky himself never really gets developed, but he's just around to make other characters better.
And he
does a great job at that.
He does a fantastic job of it.
And he's good comic relief as well. Like I say, the fact that he's like a fucking tax avoider and shit like that, and he's got a load of debt to pay for the village, so he's the hero pod now. Literally, his entire village has gone, you owe us that much money that we're gonna send you to your death, essentially.
It's hilarious. And he
has 12 children, and his wife's like, you better fucking do it.
Yeah.
Because we're hungry.
And I don't think there was ever a time where he like interjected where I was like, I could have done without that either.
Yeah.
So it was never like misused or overused as the comic relief kind of character.
Right. I mean, as going back to Xenoblade 2, I'm someone who didn't really dislike Tora.
I don't hate Tora either.
But by the end of this story, I was starting to get sick of him. Where he'd just be like, did Rex lose his wallet? Is Mia hungry?
Yeah,
It's just like, shut your dumb face.
The only thing that I find funny about Tora is the fucking how his family is just a bunch of horny people. Dude, that's the only thing I find funny. Like when you find his granddad, and his granddad's even more horny, and he's like, "Where's your dad? He needs to make me a sex robot." I'm like, "Oh my god." But no, I don't hate Tora, but
I do love Tora's swimsuit. How it's just called Best Girl swimwear, and it's just a shirt of Pyra.
It is pretty great. We do respect him. But no, Ricky is just better in every way. He also doesn't get introduced until quite a bit into the story, like about I don't know, a third of the way into the story is introduced.
He's like the last character you get for a while.
Yeah.
Up until Fiora, so whereas you get Tora, like literally he's your third member, like, so you get him pretty early. So yeah, he's a great comic relief. He's there when you need him to be. He's just got some great dialogue. He's great for for the role that he serves. He's pretty great at it.
Yeah,
I agree.
There you go.
Oh boy. Anything else? Gameplay? We want to talk gameplay?
We can do if you want to talk gameplay.
It's not really like spoiler things. I don't know.
I mean,
gameplay is very simple.
It's simple. It doesn't get in the way.
Yeah.
You know.
It's fine.
Place to place.
It's fine. Yeah.
Very much the gameplay of this reminds me of like playing Dragon Age Origins, where I'm just kind of like, it's not what I'm there for, but I can still do it with little complications.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only Xenoblade game that I've actually enjoyed the combat in is Torna. That's the only one that has actually got me to be like, oh, actually, this is fun. I can get behind this one. But same with Xenoblade 2 as Xenoblade 1 it was just in the way of the story. I made the joke multiple times of, hey, if this was just walking from the point, then a cutscene, and then walking from the other point, I'd be like, I'd be perfectly fine with that because there's these guys in the way of my story. But yeah, it's just fine. I think I like Xenoblade 2's combat more because I learned it, and I was like, there's actually stuff to learn, and I respect Xenoblade 2's combat, where I don't respect Xenoblade 1's combat. It's as simple as I made it. Topple locking is easy. Even a dumbass like me worked it out, so...
Yeah. Xenoblade 2's combat has a lot of depth to it that just Xenoblade 1 doesn't, just by design.
You don't need it. You don't, and that's the thing, is it's there for the people that want it. It's not a necessity.
Right.
With Xenoblade 2, whereas Xenoblade 1, there's no substance to the combat in Xenoblade 1, even if you wanted to find it. Like, it's not that I chose not to and I was being lazy. It was no, I found the substance, which was
there.
Topple lock.
Right.
That was the substance. And the
topple lock and then build up long same color art chain attacks.
Yeah, exactly.
And then sword drive with Rhine. and do 1,000,000 damage.
That is essentially it. And it was fine.
And it was fine.
That's all I have to say on that one. That's all I've got to say.
Anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
The music was really good.
God, music's so fucking good.
Yeah. It's a Xenoblade soundtrack, so
you have the option to listen to it either original or remastered.
That makes sense. Spiffy
for those purists out there.
Which, if you are, like, it's the same music, just orchestrated. What's wrong with you?
Like, I understand wanting the option, because there are sometimes...
Oh, the option's perfectly fine, yeah.
Like, things do get lost in translation sometimes. Like, I haven't compared the two soundtracks for this particular game, but, like...
I compared, like, a good dozen of them, and in my opinion, all of them were improved, if anything. Like, if they were either equal or improved, in my opinion.
But I think, like, the biggest change I've noticed in music is that, like, the harmonizing parts of Engage the Enemy, those are a lot more pronounced in the remaster than they were in the original. They're so freaking loud.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Oh, okay. But no, I liked it.
Yeah.
The soundtrack's good. Recommend.
Yeah. So if there's no more of anything you guys wanted to talk about, I guess.
I mean,
really think of that.
Did you guys have any negatives other than what I mentioned?
Not especially.
That's the real question.
Like, I liked my time with this game for the most part.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I would like to very much state that I did enjoy my time overall with the story. That I do enjoy. It's a good game, and I do enjoy it, and I respect it.
We keep joking about the Button Valley thing, but that felt like it went on for a little long as far as, like...
Oh, yeah. Can we talk about Button Valley? Yeah, let's talk about Button Valley real quick. Because it was that bad that we coined a name for it. That's how bad it was. Because me and Hunter genuinely went in, like, 3 hours. Like, Hunter went through it, and then 3 hours later, I went through it. And it was like, it was one of those things where it was like, it didn't know when to end. Genuinely. I thought I was done, and then there was another floor. And then I thought I was done, and then there was a boss. And then I thought I was done, and then there was another half of it, and I just cried.
It was really funny the second time listening to Ethan do it, though.
He was laughing because he thought he kept hearing me say, "Oh, I think I'm done," and he just knew in his head, he's like, "You've got another 2 hours of this."
Oh my god, it was really funny.
Yeah, but no, it was interesting.
I'm sitting here getting hit with major plot revelations while Ethan's like, "Oh, finally out of here." I'm just like, no.
Yeah, the level design, I do want to quickly bring up, I feel like the level design in the second half of the game is kind of, like...
Simple.
Rushed, yeah. Compared to the start.
Yeah.
Very much it gets to a point where, essentially, as soon as you... And basically the entirety of Mechonis just feels rushed. It genuinely just feels like corridors and buttons. That's genuinely what it feels like.
I mean...
The biomes feels really consistent as far as the environments go. They all feel like they feed into each other naturally.
Yeah.
And there were places that you didn't even explore. Like, I missed some places on Bionis. Like, I didn't fully explore the snow area. I'm not going to lie.
I kind of blitzed through it. It's so pretty.
It was, but it's also a snow area, which is the bane of my existence.
But bro, the ice physics.
It's no business.
Garbage.
They're fucking hilarious.
They're garbage. I died on the ice slide
because
I slightly embedded in the floor, and it counted as me being in the air. And then when I finally unclipped, it just killed me because I'd been in the air for too long.
That's amazing.
Assassinated.
I was assassinated. You're right, Hunter. It was tragic. Honestly. Actually tragic.
Man.
But yeah, Mechonis felt a little rushed, but you know.
I agree. But it is what it is.
From like a design standpoint, I think it does make sense for Mechonis to have all those buttons because it is a more mechanical place, but I can see like,
it makes sense.
It goes on for a bit
as
long.
Far as like, it's a mechanical.
When that's the only puzzle they have there.
But it's literally push buttons, walk 10 feet because this button turns on a different button.
It makes sense in a way of a game developer's brain of, we've only got 8 months to finish this entire fucking the entirety of Mechonis, and I've got this great gameplay mechanic called a button. and that's genuinely what it was. It didn't feel
like
like
Resident Evil remake puzzle.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like simplified to a silly extent.
Mm-hmm. It felt more like a necessity for the development of the game rather than a like creative choice to use buttons.
Yeah.
But hey, it doesn't like it's over and done with eventually. Like Mechonis isn't that large, so I can't fault it. If it was an entire half of the game, maybe then I'd be talking, but it's not. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I think we've covered everything that I can
Yeah.
think of.
So, I guess before we end this off, what are your guys' overall thoughts on the game as a whole? Like, would you recommend it?
Yes, I would. I liked this one more than 2 by a decent margin, I'd say. So, I recommend this, especially if you've already played the second one, as I'm sure me and Ethan are not the only ones who played 2 first.
Yeah.
So, I'd recommend this. Go see what's up. It's a good time.
Yeah, I also recommend it. It's great. It's a great game that you should all play. However, if you haven't played, I prefer Xenoblade 2.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you haven't learned that with this hour and 15-minute podcast, then you haven't really been paying attention. But I do. Yeah, I prefer Xenoblade 2, but at the same time, it's not in a way of you play Xenoblade 1 before Xenoblade 2.
Right.
Just do that. Play. They're both great for one. If you're thinking, oh, I'll skip to Xenoblade 2, don't skip to Xenoblade 2. Don't. Because you'll have the problem that I had where you'll think too much about Xenoblade 1. Go play Xenoblade 1 first. You'll have a much better experience if you play them in order than if you did what I did. But even if you did what I did, go play Xenoblade 1 anyway. Because if you finish Xenoblade 2, chances are you'll like Xenoblade 1. And there's nothing stopping you.
It's the kind of game you can play in either order, 1 or 2. It'll make sense no matter what. But Xenoblade 1's story is more self-contained compared to Xenoblade 2's. Xenoblade 1 wasn't made with a sequel in mind.
In a way that they kind of cheekily expect you to have played Xenoblade 1 in a way with Xenoblade 2 with some of the references that they have, to the point where if you go back, you're like, oh, I see why they've told me that, and they made a reference to that because it's right here now, like in Zanza.
That's one of Malus's moves.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, hey, the Monato's the name of the weapon that the guy in Smash Brothers uses.
Yeah, dude. And then my perspective, I'm like, oh my god, Malus has a Monato. Oh my god, he's using Cyclone and Eater and armor. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's just like Xenoblade 1.
He is an Aegis. But no, yeah. Go play it.
Go play it.
And yeah, if you've played the Wii version and you're wondering if the definitive edition is the better version, yeah, go pick this up, because that Wii looks nasty. Don't do it.
If you've only played the Wii version, there are so many quality of life changes from that version that make everything just so much more streamlined. Questing is no longer a headache. Basically, if you have a monster quest or like an item fetch quest, your map gets marked with like a red exclamation mark, so you know where to go. You don't need to like sidetrack to Xenoblade Wikia every time you get a new quest and be like, all right, where do I find these fucking ponios?
Oh my god, that would have been such a chore, because
it was a chore. It was miserable. I 100%ed the game on the Wii. It was miserable.
You need a hug?
It was already a chore, yeah.
A hug would be nice.
I'm lonely.
Just general human interaction.
Oh, yeah. You got a point.
Ugh.
Not allowed, banned.
I know, dude. Anyways, real world topics aside, well, I just have one final question for you guys. Now that you've pretty much finished the Xenoblade series of games, would you be interested in wanting to go back to Xenogears or Xenosaga, see how those were?
I've been toying with the idea of looking into getting the Xenosaga games, even though 3 is apparently like the golden snitch or something. Because, like I might have mentioned before, I think we owned one of them for a brief period of time when I was younger. But, so I'd be interested to see how they went. Because this world is fascinating, and I know the worlds are probably different as far as that's concerned. I don't think there's much connection besides maybe like some of the monsters might be the same, like how Final Fantasy carries over. But I'd be interested in Xenosaga. Is probably the one I'd look into first.
Yeah.
Xenogears, I would maybe look into later.
Gears is a pretty dated game, honestly. I love it. I think it's a great game, but it does show its age at times.
Yeah, I'm not super averse to old games. Like I
I
still
hope
play.
you enjoy reading.
I still play older things from time to time, so like things being
Must be
old
nice.
doesn't bother me. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Well, that's good. What about you, Ethan?
Hi. I'm gonna give the same answer that I gave for Persona. Right? You asked the same question at the end of the Persona 5 Spoilercast. You said, would you ever go back
Glad you caught on
and
to
play
that.
any other Persona games? And I'm gonna give you the exact same answer.
Oh, maybe.
Well, I'll give you a different answer. Here's this, right? I've since then I've started Persona 4 Golden. For those of you who have been keeping up, I say started literally. I played.
Recently.
Yeah, it's released on Steam recently. That's why I've started playing it.
Go check it out. Golden,
yeah.
full game.
And I said I would go and play Golden, and then I specifically said that I'd get if they released a new way to play 3, then I'd play 3, and then I said, but I think 2 and 1 are too old for me to ever really go back and play.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said. Were too different and too just a bit too archaic for me personally. I'll say the same thing with Xenoblade, to the point of Xenoblade 1 to me was the full Golden, right? It was, I had played 2 and I liked 2, and that was the earliest, that's the one that was the older one, but still new enough for me to consider going back and playing it, and that was this game to me. This was the one that's like, hey, yeah, if they ever re-release it, or I even owned the Wii eShop version, the Wii U eShop version of Xenoblade 1, right?
Yeah.
So I was eventually going to go and play it either way. But yeah, the other ones, if they ever like release them on like the Switch eShop or whatever, or they ever do like a port or something like that, hey, maybe I would. But in terms of going golden goose chasing, yeah, going golden goose chasing for Xenogears or whatever, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm happy to carry on playing in the Xenoblade world when they release new games, but I don't really have it that much of an interest in going back unless they make it easy and I'm feeling like I want to.
So in a hypothetical, if they were to remake Xenogears or Xenosaga, would you?
Yeah, if they remade it, yeah.
Okay.
I'd definitely hit up a remake of either of those.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, heck, if they really, yeah, that's the same answer as if they remade Persona 1 or 2 or in the new style or whatever. Of course I'd fucking play it. If it's new, then yeah. But as the old games, I don't know if I'd go back and touch them, just because I play mainly for the story anyway. And I'm quite happy living in this current timeline and going back.
Yeah.
Experiencing the other ones. But hey, I play so many games, but 90% of them, if they're not on current generation, I rarely go back because I'm so busy playing games that are up to date, because I'm a fucking nerd that plays a load of games every year. So there you go.
And I'm the kind of person who goes back and plays older games because they're easier to get and they're cheaper.
It's a great hobby, dude. It's a great hobby, giving all your money away to the major corporations, dude. It's great.
I have a game store, like a family, like a mom and pop game store near where I live, and they have like a lot of old PS1, PS2 games. So
that's nice.
I will go there every day of the week. I will gladly support them.
Oh, it must be nice, yeah.
Fuck the corporations.
Like that near me, dude. I have nothing like that near me, dude. So.
Yeah, my options are GameStop and the other chain that isn't quite as big.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah. Like
anyways,
if there was a local store that was not, I would totally hit them up.
But cool. Anyways, I believe that's going to do it for this episode. So,
wow.
Ethan, where can people find you?
Oh, hi. Yeah, you can find me at youtube.com/whatajames, where I upload each and every decade. Or you can get updates on Twitter. Mainly just go to the Gigas Twitter. If you go to @thegigasyt, it's usually me that's reading stuff. So go over there and hit follow, I guess, to keep up to date with everything going on with HGO and other projects that we're working on for the Gigas channel. So yeah, go there.
I don't even have the password information, the login information for the Gigas Twitter account. So what do I know? Hunter, where can people find you?
youtube.com/ReaperHunter23.
Awesome. And you can find me at twitter.com at kdavisSRL or on Twitch, twitch.tv/kdavisSRL. Ethan, want to tell the good folks what we're doing next week?
Oh god, this is I would, but this is when it depends when it goes out. This will be going out. This will be going out next Friday, which means that means you will have just gotten your first impressions on Monday of Last of Us, you lucky ducks, because I don't even know those impressions yet. And then next week, I assume we'll be doing a topic episode next week. That's as far as I'm aware. But in terms of Spoilercast, your next Spoilercast will be The Last of Us Part 2. So if you're keeping up with all these games we're playing, go and play Last of Us Part 2 so that you can watch our Spoilercast in the next, I guess, when this has come out, in the next week or two. So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Awesome.
We good? Do you want me to do the outro as well?
Yeah, take it, dude.
Okay,
I didn't have that written down.
Yeah,
I only scripted out my intro.
Well, too bad. I guess I'll do the ending. But yeah, this has been our Heart Gamers Only Spoilercast for Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. You can get this show every week on Mondays at 5 p.m. UK time, 12 p.m. Eastern, on podcast services around the world and on YouTube and SoundCloud as well. We'd really like it if you give us a subscription on YouTube, so head to bit.ly/thegiggers and give us a subscription. I'd really appreciate it. Other than that, we'll be back next Monday for some podcast in some form where we're going to have to go back into the barrel of random topics that we hope the YouTube algorithm will like. So we'll dig in there and we'll see what it is, and then we'll get it wrong like we always do. But
we need to figure out a way to make the we need to phrase it in a way that's more enticing.
Yeah, we'll take the idea this time and we'll write it. So we're like, okay, what's the best clickbait way of saying this?
What are some buzzwords we can
use? This idea, but it's actually this.
We're saying our least favorite video game soundtracks, but we'll just call it like bad gaming soundtracks, awful, terrible. We'll just do stuff like that, all in capitals, dude. We'll work it out. Whatever we're doing, you'll find out next Monday. It definitely won't be that. But other than that. That's been our show. Thank you ever so much for listening, and we'll see you next week for some more hot topics in gaming. Until then, bye.
See you later.
Toodaloo.